Hey y'all, humans. Many of you have started to take the Vinyasa option in our all levels yoga classes. So I wanted to break down the alignment cues for the Vinyasa. That way you would be able to practice them at home and still participate safely. I'm going to start with some lower intensity options for those of you who want to build strength but don't feel quite ready to execute the full Vinyasa. There are so many different options that you can take that will be strength building and help you leave class feeling stronger rather than defeated, closer to what you actually need maybe than what you think. So, spinal waves. I love spinal waves. Core awareness, back body awareness, arms and shoulders. So we're used to doing them by lifting the tail, dropping the belly, pulling the heart forward, and lifting the gaze, and then curling the tail. So our super slow motion cow and cat. Well, what you do is you're gonna take your cow pose, you're gonna lift your tail, lift your heart, lift your knees, keep your knees bent, slide back to downward facing dog, and then the legs start to straighten. You'll come up onto your tippy toes and imagining that your legs are like straws and you can suck up energy from the earth. Megan Curry gives us that cue. Suck up the energy, and then begin to engage your low belly so much that your pelvis begins to round. You get to curl your tail and you round forward into high plank. Now when I get here, I feel like I'm too short, like my feet are too close to my hands, and so I'm just gonna step my feet back. And then before I begin to shift back to down dog again, I'm gonna lift my tail. My belly is super firm. I'm feeling pubic bone to belly button. My shoulder blades are squeezing together and I step back down dog. Now this down dog feels really long, right? Because I just stepped my feet back. But when I'm doing spinal waves, I like my feet to be as far back as they can so that I have plenty of space to practice engaging my core, keeping my core engaged. When you come into this plank pose, make sure you're pushing your hands away from the ground, spreading your shoulder blades apart. Keep your belly super firm. Don't let your arms straighten. Lift your butt, lift your heart, and drag your butt back. Palms pushing away from your feet. On an inhale breath, you come up onto your toes, you suck up energy, and you round forward into high plank, squeezing the low belly, the middle belly, the rib cage, reaching the gaze just forward of your mat. And exhale breath, lift your tail, keep your belly firm, arms straight, drag your bum back. Two more. Inhale breath, curl the tail, round forward, high plank. Super slow motion, keep everything really tight. Feel the shoulder blades coming together. Downward facing dog. Last one. Inhale breath, come up onto your tippy toes. Curl your tail, round forward, high plank. Push your palms away, push your shoulder blades away from each other. Exhale breath, lift your tail. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Downward facing dog. Now let's take a breath here. Step your feet forward. Or if you liked the distance between your hands and your feet before, that's fine. For me, I have to bring my feet a little bit forward if I'm going to hold my down dog. And then come onto your hands and knees. All right, from here, just have a seat. And then reach your arms forward. Push your palms away and bring the shoulders into the sockets. That's the first cue, shoulders in the socket. Second cue, with the shoulders in the sockets, push your palms away. So notice when I push my palms away, this part of my rib cage engages. So my shoulders are out of the sockets, I'm pushing the palms away. Continue to hold that, and then imagine that you have a pencil in your armpit and you have to squeeze the pencil in your armpit. So now your shoulder is in your socket. You're pushing your palms away so you can feel the muscles around your ribs engage. And then you're squeezing the pencil in your armpit. Now can you hold all of that? Imagine that I have a string on your sternum and I'm lifting your sternum straight up. So it looks like this. So your chest lifts straight up, but your shoulders are still in the sockets. You're squeezing your upper arm bones. You're pushing the floor away, and the heart lifts. From here, try to hold all of that. Keep your elbows in line with your shoulders and begin to bend your arms. This engagement that you feel, hopefully, in the shoulders, that's what you need for a good chaturanga. And that's the posture that comes after high plank in the vinyasa. All right, shake that out. Now, try and recreate that here. Push the floor, or shoulders, I like to start, shoulders in my sockets. Squeeze my upper arm bones for that pencil. Push the floor away and pull the heart forward. From here, I'm gonna bring my shoulders a little forward of my wrists because in chaturanga, when you bend your elbows, you want your elbows to be above the wrists, not way back here. So one of the trickiest parts of moving from plank to chaturanga in the vinyasa is that you have to bring your shoulders way forward of your wrists. For some of you, you just don't have that flexibility or you might experience pain. Do the best you can. If it hurts, don't do it. Just hold plank. Otherwise, shoulders are in the sockets. Squeeze your upper arm bones. Push the floor away. Pull the heart forward. Now, can you hold that and bring the shoulders forward of your wrists? Can you hold all that? Keep your neck relaxed and soft and bend the elbows. Not all the way, but I like to keep the elbows a little higher so that you can use the strength of your rotator cuff rather than leaning too far forward and leaning on the front of your deltoid, which eventually will wear it out. All right, shake that out. And let's see if we can create that same engagement from plank pose. All right. So find your way into a downward facing dog that feels helpful to you. And then come up onto your tippy toes. Curl your tail like we practiced in the spinal waves. Bring your heart forward, find your plank. Push your heels back. Push your hands into the ground and spread your shoulder blades apart. Now, we're going to come forward onto our toes first. If this is your first time or you're just working on chaturanga, I suggest you just drop your knees. Don't let your butt drop, keep everything lifted. Shoulders in the sockets, squeeze your upper arm bones, push the floor away, bring your heart forward, pull your wrists forward, bend your elbows, and then lower all the way down. So far in our vinyasa, high plank, chaturanga, and then usually there's a big back bend here, upward facing dog. If you're just learning the vinyasa, I suggest you take cobra, where most of us have a lot of control anyway, as opposed to the more intense option. Plant the tops of your feet. Bring your hands to the outside of your ribs. Shoulders down, squeeze everything to the center line, and then lift the heart as you drag your belly button and gaze forward. Now, I add an extra step in my vinyasa at the Hive for our Hive style because alignment is important, and as you push up into this plank, I want you to be as efficient as possible. Tuck your toes, plant your hands. If you know that push-up is hard for you, if you come up kind of like a worm, like your chest, and then your belly, and then everything up, maybe you choose to leave your knees down and push up so that you can push up in one strong line rather than this kind of like wormy thing. You won't develop a lot of upper body strength by kind of warming up. So I'm going to encourage you to keep your knees down. When I started practicing this, I left my knees down for months because you want your butt to come up at the same time as the rest of your body. And then we push back, downward facing dog. All right, let's go through it one time, not with any breath, but slowly. We start with plank pose, and we enter it waving forward, sucking up the energy of the earth through the inner seams of the legs, rounding forward to high plank. Now remember, even if you're going to push your knees down, your shoulders have to come forward of your wrists first. Keep your butt lifting, keep your shoulder blades rounding, and then start to bend the elbows. You'll get to a point where you just kind of have to plop. That's okay. Plant the tops of your feet. Lift your heart, lift your gaze, and then prepare. I bring my hands out to the side just a little bit. It feels easier to recruit the muscles I need to push up. I tuck my toes and immediately firm my belly. Again, if you're new at this, leave your knees down and push up with integrity and strength. And then find your way into downward facing dog. This time without so much instruction, I'll just call out the posture. High plank. Chaturanga with the modification. Cobra. Prepare. High plank with the modification. Downward facing dog. This time with the breath. On your inhale, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, prepare. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. This time with upward facing dog as the back bend, the traditional vinyasa with the extra breath that I throw in for Hive Style. Inhale, breath, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come onto your knees. Bring your head to the mat and rest. Take one more big breath into the back body. And let that breath go in any way that feels good to you. And then have a seat. So remember, my advice is if you are new to this, give yourself the chance to build muscle memory that will serve you through your really, hopefully the rest of your life. Hopefully you'll be practicing some kind of yoga your whole life. And so take the time now to learn how to create alignment that then you'll be able to adapt as life goes on and your body continues to change. So that means that even though I led a couple of vinyasas that were full, right, at the end, I didn't use any modifications. If you're new, I want you to keep using modifications. Or if you're trying to learn and build muscle memory and you're relearning how to do the vinyasa, I highly suggest you keep your knees down, right? Make it as easy as possible to build the awareness in the shoulder girdle so you can use all of these muscles with integrity. All right, so keeping your knees down. All right, for those of you who don't feel ready for the whole vinyasa yet, you are welcome when I give the option for a vinyasa to do a few of those spinal waves. You can do them on hands and knees, or you can do them from downward facing dog to plank to downward facing dog. You can hold downward facing dog, as I suggest often. You can also hold plank pose for all of those breaths. That is an incredible option if you're trying to build strength, especially whole body strength. If it feels a little intimidating to do something different than anybody else is doing, I get it. And it's a perfect opportunity for you to practice doing what feels best for you in that moment. And for me, that's a huge part of our yoga practice, is being able to discern the needs of the body and how to respond in real time. So just to wrap up, if you don't feel strong enough yet to do the whole vinyasa and you're interested in building strength,
First option, just hold downward facing dog. Second, just hold plank. Third, move between down dog and plank in the spinal waves. If you are new or working on this new alignment in the shoulder girdle, shoulders in the sockets, squeeze your upper arm bones, push the floor away, heart lifts. Maybe you're gonna keep your knees down for all of the vinyasas. Or maybe if you're in an in-between place where you're almost strong enough, one of the vinyasas you do full, you don't take a modification, and then the next one you modify. There are so many options, and I hope that you'll ask questions if you're not sure. I would love to support you in creating the exact practice that you need. All right, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye.